We have a form where you can request personalized award search tutorials for free at geobreezetravel.com/request. And it's probably not a surprise that tons of people ask about how to fly to Germany with points, so that is what we are covering in today's tutorials. And in case we haven't met, hello, my name is Julia and I am the founder of GeoBreeze Travel. I personally get about $100,000 worth of travel every year for about 90% off by using points and miles. And we typically save our clients more than $30,000 in travel in the first 6 months of working with our team. We want to provide you with a clear path to luxury travel with these step-by-step tutorials too. And there are a lot of different ways to fly into Germany, so let's talk about how to find the best way for you. There are a few different ways to search for good flight deals into Germany. Usually I would start with flightconnections.com, and I would do this if you have a specific city that you're trying to get to in Germany, such as Frankfurt or Munich or Berlin specifically. Alternatively, if you wanted to search from your home airport, like let's say you're in Denver, you can do that direction with Flight Connections and then see if there's a good flight that gets you close by to Germany. There's one that goes to Munich and one that goes to Frankfurt. Lufthansa flies into Frankfurt as well as Munich from Denver, and you also have flights with United. So those are a couple ways that you can use flightconnections.com to find the best direct flights. Alternatively, you could also use the Wikipedia page for each airport. You'll need to do this for each city specifically, but if you just search Wikipedia Frankfurt Airport or Wikipedia Munich Airport or Berlin, each one is going to have a table that looks like this, which shows all of the different airlines that service that airport, plus all of the different destinations that you can fly to from that particular airport with a given airline. And so you can do this with pretty much any airport in the world. It'll have a lot of other information about the airport as well. But let's start with a fun little Fifth Freedom flight that I have flown over to Germany and absolutely loved, and that is Singapore Airlines. So what you'll do here is you'll log into your singaporeair.com account, and then you're going to click on Redeem Flights. There's only one route that services this particular Fifth Freedom flight, and that is from JFK over to Frankfurt. They used to operate the Singapore suites there, but unfortunately no longer. But the business class product is still fantastic. So let's say that you wanted to fly there in December in business class for the Christmas markets. I'd recommend searching one way at a time, but then you can just go ahead and click search. And then from here, you'll be able to see a few different options. Each day is either going to have saver space available, where it's 81,000 points, or sometimes, like here on December 9, they don't have any saver space, but they have advantage space, which is 87.5 thousand points per person one way. Or sometimes they might just be sold out, like on December 10, and then it's waitlisted. Obviously, if you can find a date that has saver space, go for that because it's a little bit cheaper for the exact same product, and it is a direct flight from JFK over to Frankfurt, and it's a very, very enjoyable flight product from there. So that's just one way that you can fly over to Germany on a non-US, non-German airline, but let's look at some other options as well. Sometimes you can get really lucky and find even better award space that's less than 81,000 points for this exact same Singapore Airlines flight. And to do that, I would go to seats.aero, click Explore, then Air Canada. You're going to want to show flights from North America over to Europe, expand to the full year, and in the search bar, you're going to type in the letters SQ. That's how you know it's going to be operated by Singapore Airlines. Then in the business class column, click the down arrow to sort by business class lowest. You can also filter this down to say JFK, FRA, so that it's only that JFK to Frankfurt route. And here we can see some different dates where it shows business class. And if we click on this information button, we'll see it says business class is available from JFK over to Frankfurt in Singapore Airlines for 60,000 points plus about 76 Canadian dollars, which is a great deal. So let's search for one of these different flights on Air Canada's website. Here's one that's coming up pretty soon at the end of November, JFK over to Frankfurt on November 24th. So then we just go to aircanada.com. We are going to search one way, one adult, checkbox book with Aeroplan points from JFK to Frankfurt on Sunday, November 24th. Go ahead and click search, then click OK. And here on Air Canada's website, we see a flight from New York over to Frankfurt. It's that same direct operated by Singapore Airlines flight. And here it's only 60,000 points. Whereas if we wanted to do the exact same search on Singapore Airlines' own website for November 24th, it's going to cost 81,000 points here. So that's how you can save yourself 20,000 points pretty easily, is just do a quick check and see if the flight is also available on Air Canada. If you love free resources that let you maximize your points, check out geobreezetravel.com/quiz. There, you will find a free short quiz that will point you to the best resources depending on whether you are trying to earn more points, redeem your points, or something else. And by taking the free quiz, you will also get access to the free Points 101 course, which is a fantastic resource for anybody just getting started with points and miles. Next up, let's talk about even more flight deals to Germany that you can find by using Air Canada's website. Not only can you do that Singapore Airlines trick with Air Canada's program, but they have tons of different ways to fly over to Germany. So we clear out what we typed into the search box earlier. You can see that there's different flights from either Toronto or Montreal, Boston, JFK, Newark. You can just search for your airport here. Like even if you wanted to go all the way from the West Coast, you might be able to fly from Los Angeles over to Munich for only 70,000 points. Every time you find availability on something like seats.aero, I always recommend checking it against the actual airline website as well. So let's look at November 12th from Los Angeles over to Munich. And here we do see there are 8 seats left. This is a direct flight operated by Lufthansa from Los Angeles over to Munich. And there are tons of different options for these types of direct flights. On seats.aero, just make sure that you are looking for the green prices instead of the blue ones. That's how you're going to find the direct flights instead of the connecting ones. Another way you can do this is to click on the search tab, and in the origin airports, type USA for all of the US airports. In the destination airports, you can type in GER, which is all of the German airports. I think this tracks Frankfurt, Munich, and Berlin. Type in your departure date plus the date range that you are flexible, and then just go ahead and click search. And from here, if you just wanted to focus on Aeroplan first, then click on business class lowest. You'll see there are options from JFK, Newark, Denver, San Francisco. You can even adjust the origin airport to say just West Coast, or just East Coast, or just Midwest, and that will narrow down a lot of your airport choices from there. Usually whenever someone's going to Europe, I oftentimes recommend looking into the German airports, even if that's not your final destination. Even if you're trying to get to France or Amsterdam or Switzerland or Poland or somewhere else like that, there are so many flights from the US over to Germany, and a lot of them have pretty good award space. So this is a really good way to start looking for business class flights if you are flexible with doing some different positioning airports, because once you're over the ocean and in Europe, it's pretty easy to then relocate to another country in Europe. Are you enjoying these types of tutorial videos? If yes, please let me know. Click that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for even more points and miles tips every week. Up next, let's discuss the lowest cost way to fly to Germany with points, which is with Alaska Airlines. With the same seats.aero search from the US over to Germany, let's say that we don't care about Air Canada. We just want the cheapest flight deals that are available. If we go ahead and clear out the filter on what airline program to use and then sort by business class lowest, we'll see that the answer is Alaska Airlines. You can fly from the East Coast or JFK or Dallas, Miami, and a few other options, starting at just 45,000 points from JFK or 55,000 points from Dallas or Miami. Once again, let's do this search on the actual airline website to make sure these flights actually exist. So with Alaska, we can say Dallas over to Frankfurt, it'd be about 55,000 points. However, these taxes and fees are looking kind of crazy at $1,000. I wonder if that's actually the case. If we go to Alaska Airlines and search DFW, over to Frankfurt on November 11. It's not nearly that bad at all, where it's 55,000 points plus $1,000, but it looks like we are seeing this for 70,000 miles plus $19. Let's check one more example to see what Seats.Aero is looking at. So on November 16, there should be something from JFK to Frankfurt for 45,000 points. And here we do see this flight is operated by Condor, which is a subsidiary of the Lufthansa Group. It's 55,000 miles plus only $50 in taxes and fees. So I don't really know what Seats.Aero was thinking here with what it's posting for taxes and fees when I highlight this particular price range, because when I click on the information tab on Seats.Aero, it does say that it's only 55,000 points plus $50 in taxes and fees instead of 45,000 points plus $1,000. So sometimes weird things like that happen. Always check with the actual airline for what the price is going to be and if there's award availability, because these search tools are not always perfect, but they do give a pretty good starting point for where to look. If you're in the market for a new card so that you can travel to Germany for Oktoberfest or Christmas markets, but you're not sure what card to get, check out our free credit card consultation form at geobreezetravel.com/consultations. We will send you a personalized recommendation based on your particular goals, budget, and lifestyle. And many of the links that we send out through the free consults and the GeoBreeze Travel website are actually referral links from our students in the Points Accelerator rather than our own affiliate links. If you would like for us to send out your referral links so that you can earn more referral points too, join the Points Accelerator waitlist at geobreezetravel.com/waitlist. That way, you can be the first to hear about when we open back up for enrollment. Okay, now let's talk about how to fly to Germany with American Airlines. The next program that we're going to discuss is American Airlines. So when I search for something close to Christmas market time, it looks like all of the availability is between Dallas and Frankfurt, so that's what we are going to search for today. What you're going to do is go to aa.com and then click one way, redeem miles from Dallas, Fort Worth over to Frankfurt. I'm just going to search for one person for now in the middle of November. From here, I would click on the calendar, and then instead of show all classes, I would filter to business or first class. Then you'll see there are some dates that are only 57.5 thousand points, so you can go ahead and select one of those, and then click on the down arrow next to business to find the lowest business class flight. Now, a lot of these have really high taxes and fees because they go through London. Like this particular flight goes from Dallas through London into Frankfurt. And it also involves switching airports in London, which we do not want to do. So something we can do to try to avoid that is back in the calendar. Let's filter to business and first class, and then filter to nonstop only. So we only see the flights that go straight from Dallas into Frankfurt and avoid London. It costs just a few more points, 62,000 points instead of 57.5 thousand. But the taxes and fees are much lower. It's only $5.60 in taxes and fees. And here, this flight is operated by American Airlines instead of operated by British Airways, so it's a few more points, but much fewer taxes. If you don't have any American Airlines miles, you could also try searching for this through the Avios program, since they are alliance partners. What you'll do is log into British Airways, hover over Book, then click Book a Flight with Avios. Then you'll search from Dallas Fort Worth to Frankfurt for the same date, and then checkbox one way only. Select business or club, and then click Get Flights. And then here we do see that same direct flight available. There's 4 seats left in business class, but it's a few more points, 77,000, but also the taxes and fees are back. Since you're booking this through British Airways, sometimes they can be kind of crazy with their taxes. This is more than $1,000. And I would say do not do that. It's going to be even more points if you have to connect through London. This is 105,000 points plus $500 in taxes and fees. And I think that a lot of the other routes on their calendar is pretty similar. You can click on this calendar on the British Airways website, and it'll show you all of the different days that they have availability. But once again, all of these are going to have higher points and higher fees than what we're finding directly on American Airlines. Alternatively, since when you have British Airways Avios, you can move them to the different partners as well. I checked this with Finnair and Qatar, coming up short on Finnair, but with Qatar, we do see this direct flight from Dallas over to Frankfurt operated by American Airlines in business class. It's going to be 77,250 Avios plus about $242 in taxes and fees. So a little bit more expensive than what we're seeing direct with American Airlines, but much better than what we saw if just looking on BritishAirways.com. So if you can search with multiple different airlines, this is the exact same flight, and if you already have Avios stuck with British Airways, you could just move them over to Qatar and save yourself about $750 in taxes and fees that way. There are so many different ways to fly to Germany with different airlines, but we're not done yet. Here is how to find deals if you're on Team United. Now let's talk about United flights and how to maybe find flights on United that are cheaper than what's actually sold on United. So using the same search that we have on Seats.Aero, I filtered the programs down to United. And there's a lot of different flights, a lot of different flights over to Germany around Christmas market season. We've got Washington, D.C., Chicago, Denver, Houston, Newark, San Francisco. Seems like pretty much every United hub has flights over to Germany. They're direct. They're 80,000 points per person in business class. And we have done a lot of Frankfurt examples, so let's pick Munich instead. And let's say that we want to fly from Denver over to Munich. What I would do on United.com is select one way, book with miles, flexible dates. Let's say that we want to go in November for one adult in business class. Click Find Flights. And here we see most of the dates are going to be 200,000 points. Avoid that. Some of them are 88,000 points, which is okay. But we're looking for the Ultra Saver, which is the green highlighted dates for 80,000 points plus $5.60, which looks like it's available on November 26th or November 28th. So if we click that date, United says no. That's cool. Let's try the 26th instead. All right, that one worked. So here we can see the direct flight from Denver over to Munich. It's on the Dreamliner with United Polaris. Whenever you look at the seats on United, make sure they're the wiggly ones instead of the square ones. That's how you know you get your own little pod this way. And it's 80,000 points, which is a saver space. Just because you find it on United doesn't mean you need to book it on United. We can do better. Circling back to Air Canada, whenever you find good saver space on United, I would check it here as well, where we're searching one way, one adult, booking with Aeroplan points from Denver over to Munich, and this date was on November 26th. Then we'll go ahead and click search. And this is a little bit better because with United, it was 80,000 points plus $5.60. But with Air Canada, it's 70,000 points plus 77 Canadian dollars. There's only 2 seats left for this saver space, but you do save a little bit by moving points over to Air Canada instead of United if you have the option to do either one. But I think we can do even better. If you find something on United and also Air Canada, I would check lifemiles.com/fly/find as well. This is with the Avianca program, and sometimes you can find a lot of really good saver space over to Germany with Lufthansa or United or another Star Alliance partner that way. We are going to try to translate this page to English, but it's going to do a pretty halfway job of doing that. Instead of Smart Search, I would select Star Alliance, and then instead of round trip, I would select ITA, which means one way. The origin airport is going to be Denver, and the destination will be Munich. Instead of selecting your dates first, I always go to passengers in cabin, select executive class, and then it will highlight in blue some of the different dates where we see saver space. So this lines up with what we saw with United on the 28th and 26th. Let's select the 26th and then click go. And here it looks like only economy is available, but if you actually click on the mileage price, that's just the lowest price. So you have economy available starting at 39,000 points, but the business class is available for 69,000 points. So you save a point versus what's on Air Canada, plus you save $40 or $50 in taxes and fees because the taxes with Avianca Life Miles tend to be a bit lower. It's only $28 here with Life Miles, whereas with Air Canada, it's 77 Canadian dollars. So not a huge difference between Air Canada and Life Miles. And if you want to go for convenience, the Air Canada website is so much easier to use than the Life Miles website. But if you're in it for optimizing your points and minimizing your taxes and all of that, check out Life Miles because there's a lot of options to fly over to Germany or Switzerland or Austria or anything else like that with Life Miles as well. We have one more tutorial coming up, and it covers how you can easily find deals in first class to Germany rather than just business class, if you want to get really fancy. And if you want to get fancy and level up your points gain even more, we have a couple of options for you. The first one is the GeoBreeze Travel Patreon, which you can join starting at just $5 per month through patreon.com/GeoBreezeTravel. Each month, we prepare personalized step-by-step tutorials for the routes that our members request. We also provide open forum group coaching where you can ask any questions that you have about points, miles, and credit cards in general. And we talk through some of the tips and tricks that I don't really mention on social media. And if you are looking to get even more free travel with points, and you are a business owner or individual who spends more than $100,000 per year on expenses, check out our one-on-one points portfolio management service. We typically save our clients somewhere between $30,000 to $60,000 in travel in the first 6 to 12 months of working with our team. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in, book a free intro chat with us at geobreezetravel.com/intro call to learn more. Okay, now let's cover how to fly to Germany in first class. If you really want to get fancy with flights to or from Germany, on seats.aero, you can click on Tools and then click on Lufthansa First Class Finder. And here, it will show all of the different first class options and how many points it will cost. It seems like it is a lot easier to find these as last minute availability. Like we're talking in 2 days or something like that, 2 or 3 days. Also, a lot of the availability is for return flights from Germany over to the United States. There are some exceptions, like here is an example from Boston over to Munich, but most of these are departing Germany and going to the US or somewhere else, like India or Haneda, Incheon, Korea. Let's look at a couple of examples. These are pretty steep in price, so with Aeroplan, if you want to jump on one of these last-minute Lufthansa first class options, it's going to be 100,000 points with Air Canada, and with United it's 140 or more, which is pretty steep. If you want to do something like this, here's what I would recommend instead of moving over 100,000 points if you're not super points rich. Once again, go to lifemiles.com/fly/find. And then whatever date is shown here for Aeroplan, like let's say that you wanted to fly from Munich over to Chicago, I'm fully aware that this date of September 12th will have come and gone by the time you see this video, but these are usually just available for last minute things. If you see it available for Air Canada and United on seats.aero, I'd search for the same thing on Life Miles. So here, let's go ahead and search on Star Alliance for one way from Munich over to Chicago for business or first class, and this is going to be on September 12th. Then we'll go ahead and click go. And if we click on this first United option, that's only available in economy, but the second one with Lufthansa is what we're looking for. It's 37,000 points in economy, 69,000 points with business class, or 120,000 with first class. Now, why would we want to do 120,000 with Life Miles instead of 100,000 with Air Canada? Well, sometimes Life Miles go on deep sales. Like at the time I'm recording this, and probably not by the time this is released, Life Miles are on sale with 160% bonus, and they are on sale more often than they are not. And when they're on sale, you can buy them for like 1.27 cents per mile, which is really cheap because if you need 120,000 points with Life Miles times 1.27 cents per point, that comes out to $1,524. So you could fly this Lufthansa first class flight for, let's just say, $1,524 because that's how much you spent to buy the points to buy the flight. Is that a good deal? Kind of. Because when I look up this flight on Google from Munich to Chicago, operated by Lufthansa, it says it's a $10,000 flight. Now, is any flight actually $10,000 and does anybody pay that? I'm sure somebody on that airplane does, but I'm pretty sure most people don't. This is also, keep in mind, I'm searching this as a last minute flight, which is why it's looking like 10,000. If we were to pick this flight on a random other date that's more reasonable, that's a few months out, let's check January. And let's filter down to just Lufthansa. Now it looks like it's still 9,000, 10,000, or 13,000 there. If we did this as a round trip flight instead, round trip is more like $14,000 or $15,000 instead of 10,000 one way. So you could say that this flight is more like valued at $7,000 for first class. So it's like getting a $7,000 flight for $1,500. If that sounds like a good deal to you, to pay $1,500 for this first class flight to buy the points, to then redeem the points on Lufthansa, that is how you can book Lufthansa first class by using the Seats.Aero Lufthansa First Class Finder. I hope you found these tutorials useful. Let me know in the comments what destination I should cover next. And please subscribe to the GeoBreeze Travel newsletter if you would like to request a free personalized tutorial for a route that you want to fly as well. In the meantime, if you enjoyed these tutorials, I think you'll enjoy this video next.